Tune in to Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network channel. May the sports be with you. Because I am the hero the Sports Jedi deserves, but not the one it needs right now. Long live Lexus King.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast here on the Sports Jedi Network. We have a special guest joining us here today. But first, let me bring my partner in crime and say hello to the one and only PGH Chris. What's up, Chris?
What is up? What is up, everybody? Yeah, we know we're going to continue to do our interviews. Like I always say every week, the grind does not stop. And I'm very, very excited for this one. So let's go.
Let's go indeed. The Kick Demon, Yadi Kai, joining us. What's going on? Welcome.
Hey, what's up?
Saludo. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
We are awesome. We are very honored to have you on our program. Thank you so much. You are well traveled, well versed in the wrestling business. But I always love going to an origin story. For me, I fell in love with professional wrestling with my grandfather, back in 1984, showing me professional wrestling. What made you fall in love with professional wrestling to the point where now you just make it an artwork and you are now a performer? Tell us that origin story.
Yeah, so I started watching with my dad when I was little, and he would take me to the live events all the time. And I just became so inspired by the energy that the wrestlers gave because I was so into what each character, what each person was. I was invested. And when I'm invested in something, obviously I'm going to want to get more into it. And I thought about it, and I was doing Taekwondo during the time as well, because I started at a young age too. So I thought about it. I'm like, I wonder if I could do that eventually, because I'm doing Taekwondo. I love anything that's like combat fighting, like anything action related. So that's also what caught my attention. But I always thought, like as I was growing up, okay, I wonder if I can actually do this and implement what I know in the ring.
I like that. I love that. And any particular performer, male, female, that in the professional wrestling scene that get you gravitate to you, like wow, like who was that one, that person, male, female, that impressed you? That's like, wow, this is who I like to imitate or wrestle.
Yeah, so I always say these top three. So for women, it's Victoria. She always had my attention because of how just intense and hard-hitting she was. And then the other two is to Jerry and Rob Van Dam because they have the martial arts background. So the way that they moved and everything was so relatable, but so cool at the same time.
I like that. I like that. And also in the martial arts, I see according to your post, big Bruce Lee admirer, growing up in the Taekwondo scene. Tell us a little about the martial art background, because I know Chris is a Taekwondoist, of course, and I have also Shotokan Karate Do. So we know the martial arts. We respect that. Tell us your journey into that and the way you incorporate it into the wrestling.
Yeah, so I started Taekwondo when I was 6 years old. And I went up to my black belt. And during that time, too, I was competing a lot at different tournaments all the time. And so after Taekwondo, I took a little bit of a break, focused on school, and then I got into Muay Thai and kickboxing. So when I got into that, it was a little bit different with the technique. So it took me some time to get the hang of it, but I caught on to it pretty quickly because that martial arts, side was still inside somewhere. So I caught on to it very quick. I did train for a fight, but my opponent pulled out last minute. So I never got my first fight. It was for a kickboxing fight, to be exact. And so my opponent pulled out, never got a fight. But that's when I started to get into wrestling. So I was like, maybe this is a sign to start professional wrestling. So that's how I went from martial arts to wrestling. But yeah, martial arts has always been a part of my life. Can never get away from it. I'm currently a boxing trainer as well and a strength trainer. So that's what, like, I can't get away. And that's like my goal too, to have my own kickboxing studio. Aside from wrestling, of course, wrestling's the dream, but I also have my other goal of one day hoping to get my own kickboxing studio.
Nice, awesome. Chris, go ahead, Chris. You're one to pepper some questions in.
No, you're good. You know, like Kev said, I did Taekwondo my whole life. I actually did get my first degree black belt. I stopped doing it my senior year of high school, actually. But yes, so that's why I'm really excited to talk to you. Because you know, I loved watching your matches because you incorporate that so much into your wrestling style.
Yeah.
But when you did Taekwondo martial arts your whole life. When you started stepping into wrestling, you know, taking the bumps, you know, the technique. I assume, you know, that was probably a little more easier for you than, you know, most people that start with wrestling. How was your early days of actually stepping aside from martial arts for a little bit to not step into a whole new world? Because you're still, you know,
Yeah.
you still take the hits, but it's, you know, it's a little bit different. How
Yeah.
did that transition go for you in the beginning?
So when it came to like ring positioning and stuff, that wasn't an issue because I was always in my fighting stance. Like when I was circling the ring,
Yeah.
that's how they first had me start was circling the ring, doing my rolls. When I was circling the ring, they saw that I was in my fighting stance like naturally, and they were like, "Do you have a background?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do," because I was like this, like moving around, and it was very smooth too. So they were like, "Keep that and keep circling the ring like that, if anything, because that's gonna be part of your style." And I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." So when I was doing the rolls, that was natural too. Like I did gymnastics a little bit when I was little as well.
Oh, okay,
So
nice. Yeah.
yeah, the rolls were just fine and everything. The bumping was a little bit tough because it is still pretty not normal to do.
Right.
So when I took my first bump, it was rough, definitely. And I was not even sure if I was able to even bump after that because I never got it like for my first day. Um, but there was like one day where I was like, forget it. I'm gonna take this bump today. So someone shoulder tackled me and I finally took that nice bump and I was like, okay, there it is.
You finally got
Um,
it out of your system.
yeah, yeah. I was like, "Whew, okay, now I know I can do this." But yeah, all like the little things, the fundamentals and the techniques, yeah, I gravitated to that like very quick. So that wasn't really an issue. So the beginning days were definitely good times for sure too. I was going to training every day, like all day, like for a good amount of hours, and I was
Was it
training like
easy
by
for you to
myself. I
pick?
was one of the only girls.
Right. Oh, see, we you know we've heard that a lot with some of our
Yeah,
previous guests that you know they're one of the only girls in the wrestling school, and I wanted to
yeah.
translate to this question. You actually you know threw me a good alley oop. What were you know where when you're in your area, you know you're looking for wrestling schools to go to. You know which one like what was your wrestling school that you picked? How easy was it
Mhm.
for you to pick a wrestling school? Whether it was the distance, you know, the right people to get you to the you know the place you're at now because you're excuse my language, you are fucking killing it right now. So like you know, what were the, you know, some of the schools that you went to early on for wrestling?
Yeah, so I actually decided to move to Orlando to train
Oh,
because
nice. Yeah, Kev,
I'm in
there you
the
go.
I'm in the
I
DMV
live in
area.
Orlando.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Well, I live in the DC area, like DMV area,
Oh, okay.
so there's not a lot of schools. The only well-known one really is Maryland Championship Wrestling, but that's like a little too far. I did visit the school for one day, but I had some options in my head, and one of them was a school in Orlando called Pro Wrestling 2.0. And the reason why I chose
Yeah,
that
yeah.
school was because my trainer was Santana Garrett, and she was signed to WWE. She's well known around the world
Yep.
as well. But she was running an all women's class. But like when I went down there, I was taking like the normal classes, like the beginner, but it wasn't beginner. It was kind of all levels. But then I saw that she was there, and she said that she's gonna start being there. I think like every Wednesday or something like that. So yeah, I was like the only girl for the start, and then she said that she's gonna start doing all women's training every Wednesday. And so that's what kind of like sold me in a sense.
Right.
So I was like, all right, I have nothing to lose. I'm gonna move to Orlando right now, basically, and go train. And so like I went down there and everything and I started taking more of her classes. She kind of took me under her wing and I kind of just stuck with her because she kind of like protected me in a way as well, knowing that I am a woman in the business. And so she really helped me not only just in the ring, but outside of the ring with like the business aspect of it, taking
Okay.
me to shows that she was booked on and just telling me like wrestling etiquette and stuff like that too.
I love that. I love that.
That's a great teachable moment. Just learning the
Yeah.
wrestling etiquette, where paving the way with the different veterans and bookings, agents working in and out of different promotions. So obviously that's one of the aspects that helped you. Also with her, what was the strength out of that taught you the most with her? Was it the positioning in wrestling, or just a little bit of everything, or the psychology? What is something that you look at fundamentally right now that you're like, wow, I can't believe this is what I learned when I first stepped in with her?
Yeah, she taught me all the basics. Like she was really good with that. She brought in like any girl and like we went through the basics, the fundamentals of the techniques, like just different like types of pins. We locked up. Like it was like endless of all of that, just like the fundamentals, like beginner stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The person who helped me with like character, like implementing that, his name is Eric Lockhart, and he actually is at Reality of Wrestling. He's a coach there, but he also lives in Orlando, and he was helping out a lot for me. Like he was definitely a person that was big in my life when it comes to my training. And yeah, he helped me with my character and to really find my style and find myself in the ring. So it was like a mixture between Santana and Eric who like came together and helped me. So when it's like the basics and like how smooth I run in the ring and everything, that's like a little bit of Santana training. And then Eric, of course, like he helped me with the character part, but he is phenomenal in the ring as well. And he's so patient. And so if he saw like one little thing, he would be harder on me because I like to be trained in a way where I want someone to be blunt and I want them to tell me like straight up like what the issue is. So, and I always take that as a compliment when I get like feedback or advice from somebody rather than just nothing. So like he would be that person that would always tell me like, yo, stop holding his arm like that or whatever, like do it this way, blah blah blah. It's just like little things, like those little details. He would catch that because obviously when we're training, we don't see ourselves.
Right.
So he'll be the eyes for me and he'll tell me.
All right, so he's your go-to guy to critique a match, to get
Yeah.
the constructive criticism. Now, is he the person that got you? Do you work as? I obviously this is a question I know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway for our audiences listening. You're working better as a babyface or a heel? I know the answer to it, but I'm going to ask that question.
So a lot of people so I've been working more as a heel, but a lot of people love my style so much where they kind of they want to hate me, but they want to love me at the same time because I have such a cool style and stuff like that. So a lot of people like to consider me as a tweener or a heel because I do become the more aggressive fighter in the ring. So that's how I become the heel. But a lot of people do say, "Oh, you seem like more of a tweener. Like you're like I want to hate you, but I love you."
Does it make sense that you're such like Matt says right now? Matt Awesome is joining us there. Of course, he was one of our first ones to
Hey.
interview with us. Always a friend of the program, always supporting. I got to put him over big time. You're right now. You're kicking ass. You're the kick demon. You're right now a badass to the point where you should be feared. But when the bell rings, you're like, oh damn, respect. I think that's where you win the people over because not just your appearance and your persona, but your in ring with your work. I
Hmm.
think that's where you get that baby face or tweener role where you don't mess with you. Now let me ask this question: which one you like working better?
Um, so I think okay, so I didn't really like working heel, but now I kind of do. Because I definitely know how to also put over the baby face.
Okay.
Because yes, I do know that my style's cool or whatever, but I know how to turn it into more of like a way to do certain moves that are more gnarly or more aggressive and not try to outshine the baby face because overall that's our role. So I think I just like that too. Because also a lot of people see heels as like kind of like the ring general, like they're the ones that kind of run things in the ring. Um, when I'm like facing people, I don't really like think like that. Like, oh, I'm the ring general. I'm gonna carry you type thing. Like, I make sure that I know what their character is, what their style is, and I even ask them before I even talk about a match. I'm like, what do you want to do? What is your character? We're gonna put that specific thing over during this part of the match, blah blah blah. So that they can just shine a lot more. Because a lot of people do like my style and they're quick to be reacting to like any kick. So I gotta make it to where like it's like they're not reacting too much and like the baby face is fading away. So I've liked that aspect of it to where like as a heel, you're working more that way to help the baby face, not to just outshine them, if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense because you want the baby face to show to as an audience, and you want to get invested in the baby face
Hmm.
rise or in their struggle when they're
Yeah.
that rise in their struggle to get over to blow to for the comeback, and if the heel is totally knocking them dead, you're like, why am I going to worry about? Yeah, he's lunch meat. I'm going to go with the heel. Keep one
Yeah.
more. Send them. Yeah, get him another suplex city or give him another kick. Yeah, I understand exactly what you say
Yeah.
when you mean that. I totally comprehend. Chris, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to talk about, your first couple of matches. Now that you're back then, you're getting trained, your season, and it's time for your first, not your first match, because I don't know if you probably remember your first match because you've had so many, but around, what was your experience like, first getting into the ring, in a match, with the crowd, now having to perform? Like, how was that experience for you? Was it nervous? Was it good? Was it not?
So my first match was with Santana because she was my trainer.
Oh,
So
nice. Okay.
it's yeah, yeah. So of course it's great to have that first match with your trainer.
Absolutely.
That's how it technically should be. Like whoever trained you or whatever, that should be your first match. Your first
Yes.
match shouldn't be you go off by yourself and wrestle
I
someone over
agree
there.
100. Nope, I agree
So
100%.
yeah, so she was my first match, and from what I remember, I was actually yeah a little bit nervous, but I was still comfortable because it was her. And she made things very comfortable for me. And I believe that match is still up on YouTube. But it's like,
Oh,
yeah, it's in the school YouTube. It's like deep down, like years ago. Okay. So I don't know if anyone's going to find it if they even try. But yeah, so my first match was with her. And she let me like do like specific moves and stuff that like I wanted to do. She didn't
yes.
tell me what I was going to do. She let me showcase my style and who I am. This was a school show, by the way. So we did have a cute
Mm,
crowd, but yeah, that was a good way to just introduce myself in the Florida scene because I was in Florida. So in the Florida scene, like that back then, I say back then, that was like 2017 or 2018. But like even then, there wasn't a lot of schools around. Now there is, but back then it was like not, there was probably three solid schools.
right.
But this was a good way to introduce myself to the Florida scene. Like, hey, this is a new Florida wrestler coming in. She was trained by Santana. And then, like, after that match, I kind of had the blessing to go ahead and do like Florida local shows rather than traveling out of state. The out of state didn't come till later. Um, so that was cool. And then I ended up doing some Florida shows. And then later on, that's when like I had the blessing of just being independent and travel on my own. And when I started doing that, I felt pretty comfortable. There was times where I definitely felt like if I didn't know if I fit in or not. And that's what was the hard part. And I'm sure a lot of people who are starting out feel this way. And it's like you don't know if you fit in, you don't know yourself all the way just yet. Because even though I know my style in the ring, I still don't know if it's like me. Like it doesn't feel like the
Hmm.
confidence wasn't all the way there yet, if that makes sense.
Right.
So yeah, like that took a lot of time. And like during those first couple of years of traveling, that's what I was struggling with. So that was like the main thing was just getting in my head, like the perfectionist in me, like was getting in my
Right.
head. And I forget sometimes that it's okay to have fun. So like
Yes.
once I started like being more comfortable about that and studying more wrestling, because studying more wrestling and studying wrestlers that are like that influenced me or that are kind of like my style, that made me more comfortable too. Because I was like, okay, if they're wrestling like that, then it's okay for me to wrestle like that. Or maybe I should implement some
Yes.
of what they did in that moveset to my moveset. So that's when I started to be more comfortable in my skin. But yeah, like yeah, it takes a little bit of time for sure to know who exactly you are. But that was like the number one thing for sure in the beginning when I was going out and wrestling. It was just like the perfectionist and just getting in
Okay.
my head.
Yeah. I mean,
When
no, because we all want. Oh, go ahead.
No, no, I was going to ask regarding to that question, that statement you were mentioning. When did it slow down for you? Like where the light, you know, they're saying the light bulb. Was it another opponent in the ring, or was it a location? Maybe traveling somewhere. You know, maybe somewhere down in West Palm Beach or outside of Florida, where it said when the light bulb went on, and said, "All right, this is slow down. I know I can have fun, and I'm ready to take it to another level of
Mhm.
comfortability." I still think you're gonna get butterflies. I think even when you have a match, your 1,000 match, you know, even if you get in the ring tomorrow, you're still gonna have those butterflies. It's just natural. But when did it slow
Yeah.
down for you?
So I think okay, so at the end of 2019, I actually got injured. I actually fractured my neck from
Ah,
wrestling. Yeah. And that's when the pandemic started happening too. So I was like recovering during the pandemic. And I will say during that time when I was recovering, that's when I just took more time for myself to focus on my personal life, which I'm sure a lot of people were doing at the time too. But for me, it was just because I had a neck brace on. Like I couldn't move how I used to. I wasn't sure if I was going to wrestle again. But
wow.
yeah, like so it was like a mental shift that I had to do, and I had to keep very positive. I had to develop a lot of faith, and like I had to just be still at the end of the day and not and I wasn't watching a lot of wrestling during the time. I was just overall just focusing on myself,
You.
and I kind of found myself a little bit more too because when you do that you kind of see things differently, if that makes sense. So that's what I was doing during the time. I was reading a lot of books, self-help books, all that stuff while I was recovering. And I was telling myself, I'm like, I feel like I'm going to wrestle again. And I feel like this is not over because the doctor at first was telling me it's going to be over. But um, I was like, nah, like this doesn't feel like it's over. So that's when I started just training little by little, just little things. And that's when I moved back home to the DMV. And so once I was like fully recovered, I started going to other states because when you're in Florida, it's tough to
Yes.
travel out of Florida. A lot of people don't want to fly you out too if you're in Florida. That's another thing. But yeah, it literally takes how many hours? Like 6 hours to get out from Orlando to like at least to Georgia, right?
Yeah.
S-
Yes. Yes.
So like it's tough to even if you want to drive to another state, it's gonna be a tough ride. So like if I'm in like DC area, I can go to New Jersey, I can go to Pennsylvania, I can go to New York, no problem. All of that.
Right.
Oh, no
Connecticut.
problem.
Hmm.
If I wanted to drive, I could. If I wanted to fly anywhere, it's still not going to be a tough flight. Like people are okay with flying me out from DC area. So fast forward like to I guess like 2020, end of 2020, that's when more shows were being more open about running, but they didn't have the crowd. That was the only thing. So I traveled to Chicago with my friends. Like it was a group of us. Like these are my day one people that we started in Orlando and everything. We traveled to Chicago. We did a show, and since there wasn't a lot of wrestling going on, that show specifically had a lot of eyes on it. And this is where I feel like my name started like rising. Was the end of 2020. Literally, we're one of the only shows running. There was a clip of me kicking two guys in the ring, like all fancy kicks, right? That clip blows up, and they're like, "Who is that?"
Wow.
So like, yeah, so that clip started blowing up, and that's when like my name, I guess, was getting more out there, and so that's when I saw like end of 2020, that's when I saw things happening a little bit more, and that's when I felt accepted. So going back to like when things slowed down, when like I wasn't getting into my head, it was around that time. Even though it was still there where I didn't know, like, okay, now that I have more eyes on me, it's like now it's a little bit of like nerves because it's like, oh, who's that? Who's that? Oh, she needs to be signed there, blah blah blah. And now it's like, okay, how do I wrestle here? Like if I go to GCW, a lot of eyes on GCW. So it's like, okay, how do I wrestle here? Should I be myself? I mean, they're pretty hardcore, blah blah blah. Like it was getting in my head when I would wrestle over there and stuff. Um, but to be honest, like I think not until I went to Japan, that's when I knew like, okay, I'm okay.
Nice.
Like my style fits, like it was like so beautiful just to like wrestle
Yeah.
over there with the girls over there, like and my style fit in so perfectly. I
Hell
was
yeah.
like, all right, everything was all right. Like I'm good.
Well, speaking of Japan, tell us about the TJPW. That's where you went to wrestle in Japan. Am I correct? When you had the opportunity?
Yeah, there, and I went to GLEAT, but it's spelled GLEAT, but they pronounce it as great, but I still say GLEAT. But yeah, so it was for those two promotions.
And tell us that experience. How did that come to forefront? And your experience in Japan, because we asked a lot of our guests on, and we always ask this question: where we're sending you to for an excursion, and Japan always comes up. But you have had that honor and that privilege already to be in Japan. Share with us like, your experience and how it came to fruition for you to get that wonderful experience in Japan.
Yeah, so the first time when I was asked to go to TJPW, I think I really have to thank Miyu Yamashita for that because uh, it was like me, her, and Billy Starks had like a triple threat. And typically, when TJPW, when their aces come over here, they go back to Japan and they let the person know, like, hey, keep an eye on this person or whatever. And I definitely feel like that's what happened because that happened very quick. And Billy was
Wow.
asked to go as well. So we were asked at the same time. So that's basically how it happened. Like if you're gonna have a match with someone that is coming from Japan, have a good match. Because then you're gonna go back and say something for sure. So that's basically what happened. And they asked me to be there for 2 weeks, and I believe it was two shows. So there's a lot of free time to roam around during the week, but like training was on Thursday and then the show would be Saturday. So that's basically how it went down my first time around, and it was great. Um, I had a championship match. It was for the International Princess Championship against Miyu Watanabe, and that match right there was the one that like I got like emotional after because I was like, yeah, this is
Nice.
confirmation right here, and I was like, I have to go back, and so a few months after, I still was working with TJPW in the States. And then I asked them because Glee asked me if I can work for them too around the same time. And when it comes to working different promotions in Japan, it's kind of shaky. Like they don't let their talent move around over there. So I had to ask TJPW for permission because I was like, I don't want to go over there for Glee and then TJPW season. And they were like, you're kind of working with us. So like I asked them, I'm like, hey, is it okay? They asked me, blah blah blah, and they said, yeah, you're fine. So it's okay.
Okay.
So yeah, so I made sure I asked them first, and then I went back to Glee, and I was like, yeah, I'm good. And this was around a time where I didn't really have much going on. I was just wrestling, and that was my full-time job. I didn't have any other job. And so I told them like, yeah, I'm good to be there for however time you need me to be. And so they had me be there for 2 months. So they had
Wow.
me be there. Yeah. So they had me come in like for a quick week at first. And I did one match and then I flew back home. And then I flew back like a few weeks later for to stay for 2 months. So it was like from August to end of September. And so, yeah, for those 2 months, I was by myself. So, and
Wow.
there's not really a translator there. Like, yes, some of them spoke English, like the wrestlers, but I would only see them when I'm at the show. So it's like when I'm alone at the hotel because they got me a hotel to basically live in for 2 months and all of that. When I was just roaming around, I was by myself, unless like I hit up somebody that I knew that was there and was like, "Hey, you want to like walk around?" And then they can easily speak Japanese for me or whatever. But yeah, like that experience overall was great, and I would love to relive that again or do that again in general. But yeah, being there for 2 months, you learn a lot about just like not even the culture, just like everything. Like, I definitely recommend it if you see yourself getting an opportunity to go to Japan by yourself. Yes, it's kind of like intimidating because yeah, everyone speaks Japanese, but it's actually okay. Like there's actually a lot of people that speak English there, believe it or not. But it'll be good for you even to work with the Japanese talent there because they just work a little bit differently over there. It's definitely like I always tell like my friends who like work the Japanese wrestlers, I'm like, look how they're gonna work with you. And they come back to me and they're like, yo, what a breath of fresh air that was. Like the way that they work is like, oh gosh, I can't even explain it. But the language barrier is not even like a thing once you're wrestling with them because it's such a universal language. So like they get it. They get it overall when they're wrestling us, like if we're coming over there. And even with that, with the language barrier, that's the one part I was nervous about, only because when we were planning these matches, I was literally standing there quiet. And like, none of them spoke English except for maybe one. Like, she probably studied English in school, and she would say different words. But what I had to do overall was watch how they were moving, like the way that they were running, like going through the match. I was like connecting the dots really on how they were talking, like not even talking, how they were motioning things. So once I saw that, I'm like, okay, I think I know what they mean when they're okay, okay. And like there are certain words that they use, certain verbiage that they use in for their wrestling world versus us. Like there's certain things that like the names of moves and stuff are different over there. Like some of them are. So it was like a lot of that I had to connect the dots with, but I was able to get it. But that was like the part that I was most nervous about. um, so yeah, like that was the last time I was in Japan. And like after that, when I came back, that's when I got signed at MLW, and now we're here.
Okay, Chris, you have a question regarding Japan because I have another follow up on, but
Uh,
I'll let you go ahead.
if it's regarding Japan, you can just go right ahead.
No, I actually wanted to say that you've been privileged because I saw you on your resume. You were in CMML, so you have had lucha libre style as well in Mexico. So the reason why I bring that because you're diverse. You have wrestled in Mexico and Japan in the lucha libre and the Yoshi style in Japan. How does that sharpen your arsenal? I mean, my goodness, you've gotten a clinic from all different
Yeah.
parts of the world.
Oh, well, I'm sorry to let you down on something, but
Oh,
I didn't wrestle on CMLL, but I did cut a promo for CMLL.
you did cut a promo from
Yeah,
CMLL.
yeah, I cut a promo for CMLL, but the match didn't happen. There was a lot of visa issues regarding that.
Got you.
But
Um,
yeah, I'm sorry. I know. I was upset too. But I did wrestle CMLL wrestlers in MLW, so I can say
MNLW.
that.
okay.
Yeah,
You were
I
Yes.
along.
can say
Yes.
that.
So let's transition to this. You're alongside Selena de la Renta in that fashion
Mhm.
group. Talk to us about your experience in CMLL, getting into there because we're going to a timeline where I think 2022 was your explosive year, but before that, you're
Yeah.
entering CMLL. Talk to us about when you get back from Japan, you're signed with CMLL, and you're like, whoa, because
Or
when someone
MLW,
tells
not
you
CMLL.
excuse me,
MLW.
I'm a little old. I'm a little old right now. I'm tired with the heat from Florida. It was 98 degrees outside, and
Yeah, it's
I'm
hot
a
here
little
in
yeah.
Pennsylvania too, dude. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
So I'm a little fried
Yeah.
right now. So let's talk about MLW. Excuse me. That fashion group with Salina de la Renta, that group there, and also the first major promotion because MLW, regardless of the fact, you could say they're the fourth leading company in the United States. So talk to us about that experience and. I mean, did you do the happy dance when they offered you the contract? I know I would have.
No, yeah, because when I came back from Japan, I had this thought. I'm like, okay, something has to happen. Like, there's
Mm-hmm.
no way that I was there for 2 months and did all this and getting all this talk, and not like get some type of offer, because that's typically what happens. Like when you're going overseas a lot, especially Japan, you typically when the talent comes back, they're grabbed from somebody. So that's what I was wondering about, and that's when they hit me up. And mind you, I had my eye on MLW since I started. That was actually one of the shows that Santana Garrett took me. So
Okay.
like, yeah, when I was saying that she was taking me to like her bookings, that was one of them, MLW, during the time when they were always in Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I went with her and everything and got to see how the business was. So I had my eye on them since then. Another thing is that I was keeping an eye on how they were treating their women. So
Right.
that was like kind of shifty because I was like, okay, they don't have a women's division, but they have Santana Wrestling there, so they just had like a pop-up women's match. Okay, cool. And then I didn't really see a division happening until recently. Recently, while I was in Japan, I'm like, okay, they have the featherweight division. Cool. So when they hit me up, I was like, you know what? Since they got this going on, I'm gonna go ahead and go and see what's up. So, literally, cause they hit me up when I was in Japan. It was like the tail end before I was coming back, and so I headed over there, and they let me know that I was gonna win the title, like literally my first night. So I was like, okay, wow, cool.
Wow.
So that's basically how they announced that I was even part of the roster. I didn't sign my contract until 9 months later after I won the title. So yeah, it was a while. It was a while of where I was like, okay, I'm not signed, but they have me holding the title and they're offering everybody else contracts. So I'm like, all right. So it was like only a matter of time though. Everyone thought I was signed just because, but like I wasn't until 9 months later, and then they finally offered, and it was this time last year where they offered a 1 year contract, and I was like, yeah, that's fine because I do like the way that they work with me. They see a vision with me and my
Mm-hmm.
character, and that's what I needed. Because that was the number one thing as well. Because even with me, even though I found myself and I know that my style fits well with wrestling, I need other people to see that too. So I need other companies, other promotions to see that. And I want to work with somebody that sees something in me. And they had all these ideas for me. They had me, yeah, with Selena, which was great. And then they had me go
Mm-hmm.
to Contra Unit, which
Yeah.
was beautiful. So I liked everything that they had me involved in. And I'm very thankful that they were open with any feedback or any ideas that I had, because they would come to me with like what the next show idea or the match idea is, and then they said like, if you have any ideas, let me know if you want to implement this, blah blah blah. And I would tell them, they were like, you know what, yeah, let's do it that, or do it that way. Or like if I'm talking to court, we'll like come together to figure out like the best like mutual agreement on something, because I come with an idea. He was like, how about this way, whatever. I'm like, okay, yeah, I like that. Let's do it that way. Like, so it was cool to work with even court in that way too. And you don't get to work with like the higher ups in that way, where they're open to the talent's creativeness and all of that. So that was a cool part about it as well.
A lot of collaboration, which is a great thing to hear in professional wrestling when a talent has
Yeah.
certain ideas and they're willing to listen and collaborate and sprinkle in some good ideas. Let me ask this question: was it an honor to being the first champion without or being a champion on your first night coming out? Let me rephrase that. And not offered up 9 months later because they made you the face of the women's division. Did you feel honored or did you feel like concerned, like why have I not gotten a contract yet, or a little
No,
bit of
I
both?
no, yeah, I felt honored. It wasn't, there was no sense of concern. Definitely honored because like, okay, so when they made me champion, I'm like, all right, we're gonna make this featherweight division legit, because I see their vision with the other divisions, with their brand in general is very gritty. They like that realness, and they're
Right.
bringing in people of like real backgrounds, like they fighters, like stuff like that. Like that's how they are. They have the lucha going on too, but it's very like
Yes.
underground type vibe. So I was like, all right, I'm definitely that type of vibe. So that's what I'm going to bring and introduce now as someone who's the face. Like, this is going to be the featherweight division. I'm setting the tone of the featherweight division. It's not going to be poppy, lollipop, unicorn girls. It's going to be girls who want to fight.
I
So
like
that's
it.
how I saw it, like that. It is an honor, but I was also like, oh, I'm ready to set the tone for this one. So that's how I saw it at the end of the day.
I like it. Chris, good, Chris.
All right, so you got your MLW out of the way. Now, I want to ask a question. One thing I'm excited to watch you compete in soon. GCW Bloodsport. Yes, you are making your
Yes.
return back to Bloodsport, as I just put that up on the screen right there. Talk to me. I believe your first one was around, was it like 2022, 2021, maybe around your first one? Was it around that time maybe you did your first one? Anyway,
Yeah, it was
yeah,
Tampa
yeah,
Mania.
yes. How was that experience for you doing the Bloodsport, and what made you decide to go back during SummerSlam weekend? Because I'm gonna be honest, Bloodsport, I love it. Because to me, like I'm a Taekwondo guy. I like my combat
Yeah.
sport. So seeing those, and again, a lot of the WWE people cross over with Karrion Kross, the Creeds, Natalia. Like Josh Barnett is kicking ass and really doing his thing for Bloodsport.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your decision to go back and your experience overall over there.
Yeah, so I mean, when I first got asked to do Bloodsport, I couldn't believe it because like that was still during the time where I was like, okay, who am I? Like, and that's a big platform. So I was like, okay, you know what? This is definitely the platform for me. And it's a way again to showcase like my style because I can see the vision. Like they want to introduce those who have that shoot background into an area where it's like it's more for them, and I like that. So that's what even got me attracted to it in the first place. And I mean that first match I had was great. I
Yes.
forgot KZT was my opponent. And she's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and we worked so well together. And I think every time that I come into Bloodsport, I feel like I'm a different version of Janai because I'm thinking
Yeah,
from like
everyone. I feel like everyone does. I feel like everybody does when they step into Bloodsport.
It's like the first match was like I was still not even fresh out of my injury. It was like a little bit after my injury, but I was still hesitant, and the
Concern.
confidence was
The
still, yeah,
confidence,
the
because you were
confidence
still
and the
recovering from your
concern.
injury, right?
Yeah, everything was still there in my head. But after like each year, I would come back with a different attitude. And like, so if you compare it from the first time I was there to the last time I was there, which was last year for
Yeah.
Mania, you can
Okay.
see
Oh,
a
you were there
big
last year for
shift.
Mania. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, for the yeah, I went Pennsylvania. So
Yeah, because
like,
I live in
yeah.
I live in Pennsylvania. I live right down the street from
Oh,
Ricardo Rodriguez's school. I know you worked with him a lot
oh,
in MLW. So yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
So that was the last time I did Bloodsport, but like if you compare it from the first time to the last time, you can see even with the way I look, there's a big difference. There's a big mood change, a different vibe, but
That
better,
there was a lot of
better.
people in that, and was it the ECW? Was it the 203, 300? Right? That's where they did Bloodsport.
Uh, no, it was the other one, the collective. It was like
Oh,
where all
okay,
of them
okay,
showed up.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, you're right.
No, that would be cool if it
That's
was there,
awesome
but
though.
no.
I can't look. I cannot
Yeah.
wait. I cannot wait to watch you this year for Bloodsport.
Yes. I can't wait
I'm
either.
really excited.
Did-
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want to take up too much of your time. I do want to ask this one last question, Kevin. Then you can take it away from there.
Sure.
One thing I like to talk about with the social media, or with the independent wrestlers, is your use of social media. You do a great job of using your social media, because you're always promoting not just your wrestling but your taekwondo, your training. Training seems like
Yeah.
it's very, very important to you. How important do you
Yeah.
think is your use of social media, as an independent wrestler? Because you've been featured on GCW, I think you AEW as well, in Dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's actually how I got familiar with you at first, because I'm a big AEW guy.
Yeah.
But what's your, how important do you think it is for you to use social media? Because you've been showcased on all those. Now you could use it to your advantage and, market yourself. How important is that for
hmm
you?
It's very important because, like I said, when I felt like I was starting to get my name out, it was because of one clip that blew up. And a
Yeah,
lot of people
yeah.
are a lot of people are like, do it for the clip, do it for the clip nowadays when they wrestle, but that's not what it's about. What The way that you use your social media is business.
Yes.
And the way I see my Instagram is a resume. So
Yes.
when I'm posting something, I'm not posting too much of my personal life. Like that's my personal friend story. Like I'll leave that over there.
Agree.
But
I agree.
my
Yes.
timeline, when you scroll, and I learned this when I was so there's another thing. I was in fashion school, but I did marketing and management. So
Nice.
I know when people look first at your profile, pretend your bio's not even there. Do they know what you do? Can they tell what you do? Okay, and that's how I look at my profile. So if someone doesn't see my bio, if it's not even there and it's just pictures, it's like, okay, can I tell what this person does, like who she is or something? And that's how I look at it when I post. I don't just be posting random things.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important for that. Twitter's a little bit different because it's more so like a very quick look. If anything, I feel like it's a quicker look than Instagram, where people are scrolling or like they read
Yes.
something like, oh, and
Yep.
they go to the threads, they get lost.
Yep.
With Instagram, it's kind of like you see the post and you can spend time on it. And you can easily just like click, and it's more easy to the eyes to look at
Yes.
everyone's like everyone's profile, looking at the videos, looking at the pictures, rather than Twitter. You got to keep scrolling and all
You
that.
got to keep scrolling,
So
and you have. Yep.
yeah. Yeah, I personally like Instagram more than Twitter, but
I agree.
yeah, so I think it's very important. I think people should, I mean, they say to post every day or whatever. I like to think like every other day or every few days. But make sure you're posting with purpose. And if you feel like you have the urge to post something random or something that's just like not wrestling related or whatever, just rethink about it, especially if you're trying to
I
say something
agree.
out of pocket. Don't
I
say it at
agree.
all.
Yep.
So
No,
like
thank you so much for that
use it
advice.
in
Seriously.
a smart way. Don't use it in a way where you are just gonna cancel yourself or something like that. Like something like off the wall, like you want to say, like just keep it to yourself or put it on your close friend story, something. But
Well said.
yeah, that's how I see it. So I always say like treat your profile like a resume.
Well said. Well said. Go ahead, Kev.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you for that blood sport coming up. Is there an opponent, or here's your chance to call someone out for that blood sport?
That's a good question. I do not know, like, I personally don't know who my opponent is, but there's like so many people that have been coming through. So many people from like WWE, from different companies, so you just never know from
Call,
Japan.
call them out. Call them out. You know,
Yep.
I know you've been in the ring already with Marsha Slamovich, so I don't know if that's something that
Oh
will interest
yeah.
you
One
to do
person that
there.
caught my eye was Carmen Petrovic, and me and her have
I
been
like that.
DMing
Let's
here and
go.
there. We've been DMing here and there. So I think it should happen. Like we got good vibes, but like I feel like if we were in that Bloodsport ring, it would be a whole different vibe for sure. Like
But
yeah. So I have my eyes on her for sure.
fun fact, I saw Carmen's first match house show in Orlando when she was
Oh,
for NXT. Her mother was in attendance, her sister was in attendance. They were
oh,
filming. I was there for her first match with my wife. We watched her match for Carmen Petra's.
wow.
Yeah, yeah. So man, that'd be great to
Yeah,
see both of you ladies in the
yeah.
battle in the ring there at Bloodsport. But I want to talk about a match that we got a little bit of interest because we interviewed her recently, Valentina Vasquez. You have a match with her at Respect with your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
She says she's going to be watching out for your kicks. So your kicks are equivalent to Gunther's chops. And tell me about your opponent, Valentina. I know you're prepared for that one.
Oh no, yeah, and we've met in the ring one time a while ago, and again, it was a while ago, so I'm sure she's took note since the last time we've met in the ring. For me, I mean, hey, she knows what I'm all about, and she even told you like how my kicks feel and everything. So I'm ready for whatever she's trying to bring. If she's trying to throw in any tactics or try to be slick, I'm slick as well. I'm quick. I'll sweep those legs. I'll kick your back. I'll kick your chest. I'll kick your head. Anything. Like I'm very precise with my kicks at that. Like I can see things coming at different angles. Like I'm a boxing trainer. I know how to move. Like I know all of that. I know how to dodge. I know how to duck. Like it's all good. Like if she wants to try and test any of that out, I'm well prepared.
Love it. Can't wait to see that. There's a rumor that some people might be in attendance there. I know our friends are. I wanted to give a shout out to that card coming up. You got our friend Brooklyn Donovan, as you saw him here, the Outlaw Brooklyn Donovan, the Uptown Boys, as well as Valentina and JEDI tonight. We are all going to be in that card. All our friends that you've seen them here on the podcast. I have a couple questions, and we're gonna wrap up. I know your time is very limited. Let me ask this question. if I'm booking WrestleMania, I'm gonna put you on this card for I always ask this question to our talents. I have 2 nights, one someone from the past, or a legend, or someone that's not with us for night 1, and night 2 someone currently. Who am I booking you to have this fantasy match? Indulge us with a fantasy match.
Someone from the past to have a match with. You said alive or not alive, doesn't matter.
Not alive. It's just such a fantasy. Like we're doing like we're
Any
just making
promotion.
it happen. Any promotion, any wrestling company, anywhere. But we're doing it at WrestleMania.
Okay. Oh, I will say that I always wanted to wrestle Victoria only because she was the one that influenced me.
Love
And
it.
I know she was doing the indies for a little bit, even recently. I don't know if she's still doing
I
it.
ain't the
but,
lady
like,
to mess with.
Yo, I've heard like some of my friends wrestled her even like a couple years ago, and she like they told me that she was like, "Yo, do you need me to bump for you? I will bump for you." Like
Nice.
she's still going. She's ready to bump. She's not like, "Oh, I'm not taking no bumps." Like she's all for it still. So like that's like one person for sure I would like to have a match with. And what was the other question? The second
Or anyone
half of the
currently
question?
in night number 2. Night number 2, we're
Currently.
gonna put someone currently anywhere, any promotion anywhere it goes, and we're gonna put in night number 2 a dream matchup that you would love to wrestle now. Maybe he or she's in her prime, or and you're now where you're in your prime. Who am I booking you with?
Asuka. Probably Asuka. Because
Ooh.
that was one person too that like I studied a lot of her matches because when she was in the indies as Kana, she would wrestle barefoot, and like I wrestle barefoot, so like I kind of was like influenced by her just because of that. But like the way her movesets, everything was, and she still is like everything in
Hey,
the ring. So
possibly our Queen of the Ring for 2025, and
yeah,
hopefully this Saturday. So you never know.
yes.
Absolutely, there. Oh, that's a great answer there. Um,
Yeah.
you got some matches coming up. Tell us some upcoming promotion. And by the way, her information is right there if you want for her bookings for all the promoters or other female or talent that would love to book her. Her email is there. Also follow her Patreon. You see all our information scrolling there. One thing I always tell everyone for our independent guests, please merchandise. If you have an opportunity to buy a t-shirt, go ahead.
Hmm.
That's the way you support and help the independent scene, the wrestlers who are showing their love for this sport. And one way to do it is to support them, not just with our words, but also with our pockets as well. So even if you're in the area in New Jersey or anywhere you see one of these
Yeah.
shows, go out, go watch some wrestling. TKO is expensive. Everyone's complaining about the big companies. Oh, it costs us a mortgage. Well, guess what? An independent ticket isn't, and you're going to have just as much, even more fun, and you maybe even take a picture and an interaction with one of these talents. So support your local independent scene, and please let us know what you have coming up. We would love to promote it and help you get over with it.
Yeah, so I mean, even this weekend, so I'm heading to Canada on Thursday, and I'll be
Ooh.
wrestling for Reaper Wrestling in Canada, and their show's on this Friday, and then Saturday I have Portland, Oregon. So I'll be heading from Canada to
Uh-huh.
Oregon literally the next day, and I'm wrestling for Metal Mania, which is a great show in Portland. Very great, like oh gosh, they have like metal bands, the fans are on fire. So
Nice.
like yeah, so I'll be wrestling there as well for Metal Mania. And then we're already hitting July, it looks like. So I
Mm-hmm.
have JCW, I have Jersey Championship Wrestling, July 6th. And then I have ETU the weekend after. I'll be in Jersey like 3 weekends in a row, by the way, in July.
I know. I see
Yeah.
Yeah,
that.
so I have ETU and then have Respect. So yeah, a lot going on. So those are like for the next few weeks.
So out in those areas, please support and of course follow and subscribe. Don't be creepy. Just be very respectful, but follow our friend here on the program. We want to thank you a million for your time, for sharing your journey with us. It was wonderful. You
Yes.
have some fans that we're going to be rooting from you. We say that to all our talent, but we really, really mean it. We really want to root for you, men and women that come on this because it's a respect. Because you're entertaining us with this beautiful art that at least myself and Chris are falling in love with professional wrestling as a fan. And we're an honor and a privilege to speak with you and hearing your story on our platform. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. And we appreciate everyone. This is the Heal the Ring podcast. We're gonna say goodbye. Don't go off. I'm gonna, and at the end of the behind, I want to thank you. So I'm gonna run the outro. Stick behind. We want to thank everyone for joining us on the Here on the Podcast. Tomorrow we have another interview from South Texas. We'll talk to our cruiserweight. We'll definitely can't wait to hear his story as well. Remember, do not let life pin you. Always kick out. Get yourself over. Don't give up. And may the sports be with you. Y que Dios me lo bendiga. We'll see you next time here on the Heel of the Ring Podcast.